Welcome back to, I think this is episode 158.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That sounds right. So we're somewhere in the 150s. Welcome to episode 158 of the Boredwalk Podcast. I am Matt.
I'm Tess.
This is Tess. And I'm back in LA.
Welcome back.
Sunny LA.
Kind of.
That is a lie.
Rainy.
Very rainy. Yeah. Meredith and I were down in San Diego last week for a conference to learn how to be better at running our business. Time will tell if that
we'll
it was.
See.
Yeah.
Today was great. Honestly, you've improved a lot.
Oh, awesome. It will only go downhill from here. Yeah. Time will tell if we were successful in this endeavor. I guess we'll find out in the coming weeks and months. We'll see.
Yeah.
The one thing that kept coming up was, you should raise your prices. I'm just like, I'm pretty sure that the rest of the people in the country and the world don't want that.
Yeah, I feel like people are already complaining about prices on ads all the time as if we're like Amazon or something.
Right. It's just like, it's not child labor in like Southeast Asia that's putting this stuff together. So sorry, we're not able to leverage that to give you lower prices. We do what we can, but we're also committed to, paying people living wage.
So ethical.
Benefits. Yay! That's basically what we've spent the last week doing. And I was explaining to you earlier off mic that Meredith and I are suffering through some pretty extreme sleep deficit.
Yeah.
It's a typical like work conference where there's a lot of alcohol during the non like work time. And I realize I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, work trips are rough. There is something about them that just brings out.
Yeah. It's like especially because a lot of the people that we get to see, it's our only time once a year to see people that and sometimes it's only time every like 2 or 3 years, because some of the people that we're friends with that were showing up were visiting from Ireland or Australia, and they're not coming every single year. It's kind of like, how's the business doing, and do I have the bandwidth to like deal with a transatlantic or transpacific flight?
Right.
So I feel, and I'm suffering through the sleep deficit plus the time change, and I stayed in the same time zone. I feel really bad for our Aussie and Irish and Kiwi friends and like the folks that were visiting from like China or Thailand and stuff like that. So, and then of course we came home to our geriatric seizing cats.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. And like Meredith was saying before we left, she's like, I don't think we can really go on like true vacations until he's not around anymore. And I get that, but at the same time, you kind of have to live your life.
Yeah.
And I was telling him last night, because I still speak to my cat as though he understands English.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Shit or get off the pot.
Right.
Because he's just like stumbling around, having seizures. And I know certain people that are listening to this or watching this might think, wow, that sounds really shitty. Maybe you should like euthanize him. And I understand that, but at the same time, he's been like my best non-human friend for going on 2 decades.
Yeah, that's very hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like and I can't imagine, even though Meredith and I are very staunch believers in, right to death and all this other stuff, it would be very much like offing a member of the family. It would be, so it's just like, I kind of want to say to some people, like, take that what you just said and replace cat with grandma.
Well, I think that you can have all of those beliefs, but then once you're actually faced with it, that doesn't make it easier.
Right. Exactly. So that's what we're doing. And, the only thing that he really wants to eat is junk food.
What does that look like for him?
So there's this cat treat called Churu.
Okay.
It's spelled Churu. I think you can get it, at Chewy, but like, because we are terrible at planning, we just like make emergency runs to the local PetSmart.
Sure.
And it basically comes in like this little Go-Gurt type thing, but it is not Go-Gurt. It is like a whipped, creamy, gross goo that reeks of like other dead animals that a cat would eat.
Yeah, cat food is real gross.
And apparently, like, the thing that tastes the best to them is the stuff that smells the worst to us.
Yeah.
So we're giving him these little churu treats that are like chicken and scallops, and it's just like, I've smelled both of those foods that are made for human consumption before, and neither of them have ever smelled like this before.
No, my cat's wet food. It's chicken, but when you like look at it, it's or the ingredients, there's lots of other things.
Yeah.
My sister apparently recently got her cat this wet food, and it's like supposed to be super natural, like all that stuff, and there's tons of different flavors. And she said she opened up the salmon one, and there was straight up fish heads with eyes on them in it. She was like, I was horrified.
Yeah, a few years ago, we were trying to do that. I think it was called like Fresh Catch or something. It was something that they had at Whole Foods, and we got sold on the whole like no preservatives, no like extraneous bullshit. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great. And then you open the can, there's like fish scales looking up at you.
My cat's food is gross, but it is luckily all ground up. But he goes to town, and he's a gross little eater, too. It's like spraying all over the place. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah. We used to basically put Oliver's food dish into one of those big, like, foil roasting pans that you like.
That's actually smart, yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is it gets to what you were just saying. They're such messy eaters that, like, I guess it can kind of contain that spray, but some of it just invariably just goes all over the place.
Yeah.
And then it kind of hardens and dries over the next few hours, and then he goes back in there, and then to access the fresh food that's in the dish, he steps into the roasting pan, and then those little dried food morsels get stuck in his paws, and he just tracks it all over the house.
We need like a backsplash for where Jasper eats, because it's like on the walls.
You gotta put one of those like post-surgical collars around his face just for while he's eating, like a plastic head bib.
That would be helpful. Then he would eat that too, because he's a little freak that eats plastic.
Yeah, Oliver won't do that, but our other cat who passed away a few years ago, Bigby, was definitely down with chomping on some plastic.
Yeah.
My poor parents still have like a faux ficus tree in their living room that has fang marks in it from like the 5 weeks we stayed with them before we moved out to California like a decade ago.
Some cats just have a weird thing for plastic.
Yeah.
Can't be around them.
I mean, people have that too. You hear about these people that have like pica or whatever, and they're like eating like couch cushion stuffing. So I don't relate, but I understand that it's not.
Don't knock it till you try it.
Exactly. No, if you're one of these people, this is not me throwing shade or anything of the sort. I get it. I just don't do it myself, and so I can't relate to it. I understand it. I just don't relate to it.
That's fair. I think maybe for some reason I'm more sympathetic towards humans with it. With my cat, I'm just like, get your shit together, Jasper. I'm like, stop it. I want to be able to.
I mean, I think that is the one of the many blessings of being a pet parent is that you can get away with saying some pretty gnarly stuff to them that you would get your child taken away from you if it was a human. Like, you can call your cat an asshole if they're being an asshole, and no one bats an eye.
It's my favorite thing about cats. It's why I honestly even prefer a cat to a dog, because I feel like a dog, you're like, fuck you, and the dog will be like, you've ruined my life.
Right.
And the cat's like, fuck you back.
Exactly. Yeah, the cat can dish it out as well as they can take it, whereas with a dog it does seem somewhat like quasi abusive. So yeah, I would agree with that. Other things going on, we've got the NCAA tournament coming up.
Yes, that's happening.
I know a couple of weeks ago you were talking about how this is the one thing that you kind of sort of pay attention to sports-wise.
I like it. I haven't filled out. I think they just did Selection Sunday yesterday. We're filming this on Monday.
Yes.
And we can fill out brackets now.
I'm one of those people that as soon as it opened, I filled mine out, and like they hadn't even finished like the play-in games.
Oh, okay.
Because those are all 16 seeds for the most part, or like
anyway.
right. Although I did pick a couple of upsets, and I think I was explaining to you last week. I was just like, yeah, my strategy being a graphic designer, because I don't really follow college basketball. Yeah. I don't really follow pro basketball. The only sport I kind of follow is Major League Baseball. But I love sports logos. And so a lot of my decision making is predicated upon ooh, it's got a cat or a bird, or I like this color combo.
Who has the best logo right now? Who did you it won't influence my bracket. Who did you pick to win, and was it logo based?
I picked University of Houston, and it was not logo based because it's a very boring logo. It's like an interlocking red U and H. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the teams that I picked to go far, based purely on aesthetics, Creighton. They have the blue. They're the Creighton Blue Jays.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool looking logo. I like that color combo. There was another one. I forget what school it is. It's like one of those like it's like not the main school in this university system. It's like one of the outliers, kind of like UC Davis or something like that. But it was like their mascot. It looks like some kind of shady bandit wearing like a caballero hat that has like tassels hanging from it.
Oh,
and I'm just like,
that's fun.
There's a lot going on. Like this guy looks like a supervillain.
I feel like I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what school it is.
Yeah, I don't either. I think this is like I've seen it before. It's probably the second time in the last 6 years I've seen them in the tournament, and I don't remember them. Oh, the other one I picked to win a couple of games, even though it would be upsets, was something with a bulldog. It wasn't Georgetown. It was some other team.
Not Gonzaga.
Not
right?
Gonzaga. It was like Davidson or something like that. But there was like the logo was like the letter D that then morphed into a bulldog, and that was pretty cool. If you couldn't tell, it's mostly animal-based teams that I'm picking
totally
to do well.
Yeah, I mean, a letter, like, who cares?
Yeah, like the Raging Cajuns, I'm just like, I mean,
what?
I'll eat a po' boy every once in a while, but it's not going to dictate who I choose to win a basketball game.
What school mascots did you have growing up? What have you been? Were they all animals?
I went to several different elementary schools. I moved around a lot in elementary school, but my final elementary school, 6th grade, I was a Clearview B.
Ooh.
And that was because we were a feeder elementary school into the Herndon High School, which is the Hornets. And in between, I went to Herndon Middle School, which was the Hawks. So a lot of animals.
Yeah.
And then I went to Mary Washington College, now Mary Washington University, for a minute. I do not recall what their mascot was. They were like a D3 school.
Yeah.
Their homecoming game was a soccer game. So, I mean, take what you will from that statement. And then I got my design degree from Art Institute of Pittsburgh, which was an art school and didn't really I think they might have had a chess team.
Oh, yeah. You got to have a nice mascot for that.
Their mascot was, and I kid you not, Creationsaurus Rex.
I love that.
And it was like an artsy T-Rex.
That's awesome.
It is awesome, but at the same time, it's just like...
I love a weird mascot. There's Scottsdale Community College. Their mascot is the Fighting Artichokes.
Ooh, I'm into that.
So that's a fun one. I love UC Santa Cruz Banana Slugs.
Yep.
Or is it Irvine? That's like the anteaters or something like that.
Yes, it is.
I like a weird animal.
Yeah.
All of my mascots growing up were either big cats or people. I went to a school, my college mascot was the lumberjack, which is also kind of a weird one.
Okay, yeah. But it's unique.
Exactly.
It's not like a raider or the Titan or something like that.
Yeah, my high school mascot was an Aztec, and I feel like that's like...
yeah.
Probably problematic as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
The lumberjack, we were in the mountains, in the forest. It was fitting.
I think that's it as far as my personal history goes. And, as a kid, before I got to college, I found the movie Rudy very strange because this family full of people that had never been to college were diehard Notre Dame Fighting Irish fans. And I was just like, why would you support a college team if you don't go there? And then when I went to a school where we were D3 and just had a soccer team for our homecoming game, I was like, oh, I get it now.
And then you became a huge Notre Dame fan.
I was not a Notre Dame fan. My family used to vacation in the Outer Banks of North Carolina a lot, and so I became a bit of a Tar Heels fan.
My friend went to UNC for grad school, and I went to visit her one year during the championship. It was one, I think, where they won. So I have some UNC gear because I was like, I need to buy a sweater or something if I'm going to be watching these games.
True. It's hard to go wrong with that Carolina blue-white combo.
Yeah, it is. It's good. I have a lot of like clothing from schools that I didn't go to and don't necessarily support either. I just like happen to have them.
I think for like a minute when I was in middle school, I had a Duke University cap, and then I found out where the name Duke came from.
Oh, I don't know where it came from.
A lot of KKK members in North Carolina, apparently.
Wow.
David Duke, that guy, he became kind of like a political firebrand in the 80s and early 90s. That's his family.
Wow.
I don't believe they are I don't believe they've been associated with the university for a very long time, but
okay.
Well, it still probably it follows the university around a bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably so many problematic school names and whatnot, so.
Yeah, when I was working on today's Boardwalk email last night, I was looking up like all the historical events that happened on March 13th in the past, and I found that it was on today in like 1637 or something like that, Harvard College was named after John Harvard, who was a clergyman, and my immediate thought was that guy was probably an asshole.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I think most people in history if we still know their names, probably not like the best person.
Yeah. If you did enough stuff to get your name on a building or an institution of higher learning, you probably did some shady shit.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Let's see. Otherwise, we got some new products coming out soon.
Yeah.
We got our Delve deck coming out, I think, in the next couple of weeks.
Very excited for that.
I am waiting for Meredith and our ops manager, Marlene, to finish going through the next activity book to catch any typos, which Marlene only made it through 3 pages, and it's already full of highlighter.
Oh, man.
So I must have made a lot of mistakes.
Pass through it, and I was like, I didn't find any, but I'm not a good editor. I'm not. So my bad, Meredith. You sent it to me, and I failed you.
That's okay, because it's not just about the typos and stuff. We also need to make sure that the puzzles and the activities actually make sense.
Yeah.
I remember the first run that we did of the Adventures in the Abyss activity book. There was like one part of one puzzle page where, because I had caught a typo, I corrected it, but it broke the puzzle. And so like the first 1,000 copies just had this one error in it, and I was so upset with myself for having like not thought through to like fix the puzzle so that it worked, even though now it was grammatically correct.
Yeah.
But I had the best of intentions.
Yeah, you made an activity book, and that's great.
And then hopefully once I'm done with that stuff, next week I get back to designing some new t-shirts.
That's awesome.
I
Lots
guess.
of exciting things. So many exciting things.
More stuff for you guys to wear in all the videos that you're shooting.
Yeah, I love new stuff. And I really am genuinely excited about the Delve deck. Not only because we're sitting on a ton of content that like I feel like we eagerly shot, and then we're like, oh, this isn't coming out for like another month. We can't post this.
Yeah. But, it's good to have that stuff in the can.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. What else is going on with you?
I'm seeing Taylor Swift this weekend.
Oh, you got tickets?
I did.
Oh, how many virgins did you have to kill?
So many. Yeah, I'm going with my sister to the one in Phoenix this weekend, the first one of the tour. And then I also am going to the one in LA.
You're going to 2 Taylor Swift shows.
I got so the one that I'm going to this weekend, my sister really wanted to go, and she was like, if I ask like mom and dad to give us it as like our Christmas gift or something, like, will you come with me? I was like, sure. Dad. So my dad became a verified Swiftie so that he could buy the tickets. He was like, I'm a verified Swiftie now. I was like, way to go, Dad. And then the LA one, also my friend and I both like signed up to be a verified fan, but I didn't get selected to buy tickets. Only she did. So like not every verified fan got picked to do the pre-sale.
Oh, I know.
Were you a verified fan?
I mean, in my heart, yes, I am. On paper, Meredith is, though.
Okay.
And she, did not win she did not win tickets via being a verified fan of Swifties. She also was not able to make it happen through her, Chase thing.
Oh, that's so annoying. It was a disaster buying tickets. And, obviously Ticketmaster didn't handle it well. And then if you didn't get the pre-sale, it's basically cool, are you gonna spend thousands of dollars?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that didn't work out for you guys.
We're keeping our fingers crossed. We have friends that live in Henderson, Nevada, just outside of Vegas, and so we are going to go ostensibly to visit them, but really they know that we're coming, hoping that we'll be able to take advantage of someone else's misfortune where they can't go to the show and they're trying to scalp the tickets at face value. So we're going to go there hoping that we can see her, but if not, we'll at least get a nice visit with our friends out of it.
Yeah, you just got to spread COVID to every ticket holder. Make it a deep operation.
Yeah, actually, regarding COVID, this was the first. So this is our second year going to this conference that we just went to since the onset of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Meredith and I, if we were not patient zero, but we definitely caught it at the conference in February of 2020. We didn't have one in 2021. We had one last year, and within 24 hours of the end of last year's conference, half of the attendees got sick, and of that half of those people got COVID.
Oh,
I was lucky in that I only caught the flu. It was like a 24-hour bug. But I feel like we're truly putting it in the rear view, because so far I have not heard from anyone that they've fallen ill as a result of being in in the Gaslamp Quarter Westin in San Diego for the last week, talking very loudly, very closely to one another, just spitting in each other's faces.
Yeah, this past week I've been so just mildly paranoid about COVID, because I'm I can't screw up.
Right.
I can't screw this up.
Yeah.
I'm I would be upset, but also my sister would just be
you're dead to me.
Yeah. She'd be I didn't know. My dad would go with her. He would be
Yeah. And it's funny because actually yesterday Meredith and I grabbed lunch at one of our favorite local sandwich places, and as we were driving home, we were behind a vehicle with Pennsylvania plates that had 2 bumper stickers. And this, if nothing else, proves that there is no such thing as fandom subculture divisions anymore. One of them was "I break for goth girls," and the other one just said "Swiftie."
I love that. I do feel Taylor Swift, especially in later years, has her fan base has grown dramatically because she's expanded into different genres, still pop, but
I mean, I remember when she first hit the scene, I was working in the music department at Barnes & Noble in the early to mid 2000s, and she was just that spunky little country singer who wrote her own songs, and everyone was really into that. And now she's just genre, what the fuck is genre?
Yeah, exactly. Growing up, I was definitely a very pretentious child musically,
Same.
In high school and everything. So I very much hated Taylor Swift in high school and college. And then I think, Reputation was the one that really turned. I liked Red, and it was it started to grow on me, and then I feel I hit a point where I was why did I hate her?
Yeah.
And then I felt I had to make up for lost time, where I was just that was really stupid of me. Her music's fun. Why was I so mad?
Yeah, no, I've definitely had a similar evolution as a music fan too, because I was definitely an indie snob when I was younger, and I was just Taylor Swift, no. And then Meredith and I were exhibiting for Boardwalk at some street fair in Encinitas around the time that Reputation came out, and I had to get zip ties in the Ace Hardware store at the event so we could finish setting up our booth, and In Style came on, and I was just I don't know who this is, but this is so freaking catchy. This is amazing. And then I at some point in the like subsequent like week or two, I found out it was her, and I was just like, this is what she sounds like?
Yeah.
Sign me up for all of it, all the time.
Exactly.
So.
It's like, I feel like there are so many, like most pop music growing up. Although, like, I made some exception. I loved, like, all of the pop punk, like, bands in high school, which was still very mainstream. But, like, yeah, there's something about pop singers, and then now I'm like, oh, that's all fun. Like, it's just fun, and you can like it.
There is this thing that happens, and I think that if you are I think birth order plays a part, but I think whether you are the oldest or if most of your early music fandom is kind of informed by older siblings, there is a tendency to adopt this kind of snobbish attitude.
Yeah.
And so I was the oldest in my family, but I was also taking in a lot of stuff either on my own, from my friends, or also from my parents and my uncle. And they were all into all the cool stuff from like the 60s and the 70s and like the early 80s. So like I was one of the first kids that I knew that was really into the Clash, even though that was well before my time because my dad is a huge Clash fan. I remember when my parents first started watching like American Idol, I would be such a snob about it. Be like, no, I don't watch that. I only listen to music where people write their own songs and all this other stuff. And now I'm just like, I don't care. I just care about the catchiness. Does it scratch that itch?
Yeah, and there can be music for different things as well, I think is the big thing. It's like, yeah, you can like your like deep cut indie music, and you can also love Taylor Swift, and that's fine.
Yes, for sure. So I am low-key jealous of your fortune. And I'm high-key hopeful that Meredith and I do not come back from Vegas sans T Swift concert experience. We'll see.
I hope that you're both able to do it as well.
I mean, it would probably be very disappointing if like we go to like hang out outside of the venue and everyone else but me is able to get to a ticket. The cool thing is that our friends that we're going to visit have this awesome German Shepherd, so I'll just hang out.
That's nice.
With their dog.
My sister and I, one year, we were in Oregon, and we were trying to figure out we were in Portland, and like Portland's cool, but I feel like there's not like a ton to actually do in Portland. It's like, oh, let's like drink and eat, which is fine. But we were like, what should we do? And we realized the Jonas Brothers were playing. And so we were like, let's see if we can scalp a Jonas Brothers ticket. There was no scalpers. We couldn't get a ticket at all.
Scalping seems like something that would be very much like a Portland thing to do.
Right. And I was like, for a Jonas
No offense
brother,
if you're a Portlander.
I don't know. I was like very surprised. And then we were like, oh, that's fine. We'll just like do something else. But I just remember being shocked by that. So I hope you have better luck with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing is that
Vegas. I feel like Vegas has got to have scalpers.
I'm sure that Vegas has scalpers. But, you know, I'll either hang out with this rad dog. I might go play glow-in-the-dark putt-putt at the Kiss putt-putt at the Rio, which I've done before and had a good time doing. I might do that. Or I'll just get like a nice meal somewhere. They've got some decent restaurants there.
Well, I hope that you don't have to do any of that and you get to see Taylor Swift.
Me too.
When is that? Is that...
So not this coming weekend, but next weekend.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was like, I was honestly shocked and happy that Phoenix and LA aren't back to back because I figured they would be. And I was like, I'm fine with seeing her twice, but I'm thrilled and very happy. But
Taylor, you're exhausting. I can't do these back to back.
No, but like, I don't know, seeing the same, I think it'll be more fun seeing like the first leg and then the final one. So I was kind of surprised that was how it worked out. I'm happy it's how it worked out. But yeah, I wasn't sure where Vegas fell in there.
Speaking of Swift and Arizona, did you hear that Glendale is temporarily changing their name?
Yeah, but they changed. Okay. So they changed it to Welcome Taylor Swift Eras Tour, which is so clunky and weird. And so many people online were like, you should have changed it to Glendale Taylor's version.
That is much better.
Yeah, that would be way cooler than
way cooler.
Welcome Taylor. I was like, that's stupid. Like, nobody creative was a part of that decision.
Well, I think they spent all their creative juice on the public like declaration. I don't know if you read it, but it was basically just they tried to work all of these different Taylor Swift song titles into their announcement that they were doing this, and I was just like, this is what they spent all of the creative juice on, was this thing. And I mean, it's like every time it came up, I feel like rolled my eyes, because of course that's what you do when people try to like shoehorn stuff in like that, but at the same time it's like, all right, tip of the cap.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
that's where I'll be.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, and Paramore's opening. That'll be fun.
Nice. I have no idea who is opening. I mean, maybe Paramore's probably going to be opening in Vegas as well.
They're only opening in Phoenix.
Oh,
it's the only one. The rest of them have are going on a couple of them, but Phoenix is the only Paramore for some reason.
Interesting. I mean, I probably shouldn't even look into who is opening in Vegas, because it'll probably just get my hopes up even more, only to be crushed when we are not able to get tickets.
You're going to get tickets.
Just put it out in the universe.
You're getting them.
Put the vibe out.
Yeah. Manifest it. Talk to all the manifestors in our comments and get them to manifest.
Do I have
something worthwhile?
Do I have to? I don't want to talk to those people.
No.
Yeah, speaking of commenters, whew, boy, we are running a lot of ads for the Ban the Fascists, Save the Books t-shirt right now, and I said to Meredith, there are a lot of mentally ill people with access to Wi-Fi and Facebook and Instagram accounts out there.
It's real rough.
It is. It is truly wild to see some of the stuff that people say in there. And to make it even worse, about 48 hours ago, for some reason, there's like a bug in like the business suite app, which is what like brands use to like toggle back and forth between their Instagram and their Facebook, where I can't ban people. So all I can do is like hide the comment. And so I like opened a support ticket and I was just like, you guys need to fix this, because this is kind of out of control and I'm trying to create a safe space on your toxic ass platform. Yeah. Could you help me? And they're like, it might take 24 to 48 hours. And I'm like, it's already been 48 hours because this started showing up on Saturday. So hurry.
That's very annoying.
Yes.
Yeah. People have I don't know, too much time. I just I see plenty of things that I hate on social media and I don't comment on it. Like, I don't understand the commenting.
I don't either, especially because, like, in particular, it gets supercharged on the weekends. And I'm like, look at your life. Look at what you're doing on your Sunday afternoon. Shouldn't you be hanging out with these children you profess to be so frightened for? Like, if you care so much about the children, go spend some time with them and get off the goddamn internet.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on that whole thing.
I feel like they're like sad, lonely people, and that's, I don't know.
Yeah, especially because like I'll click through their profiles sometimes.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, you don't appear to have any children in your life. No children, no grandchildren. There's like some like bearded like Marine Corps vet who just has like, you know, the Confederate flag and a bunch of Budweiser paraphernalia all over their feed. And I'm just like, you don't really care about children at all. You just want to mix it up in the comments.
Right. Yeah, I feel it anytime I go check out somebody's profile. It's always like exactly what you think it's going to be.
Yeah, there are no surprises at all.
No.
None. Not a one.
I love the people who comment on people's like appearances and then they don't even have a profile picture or right. Pictures of themselves. And I'm like,
yeah.
Bet you're ugly.
Yep. We had a lot of those come through with the little silhouette head yesterday. Yeah. And then also there was one guy who tried to engage me in the comments where it's just like a giant wooden cross on a hill. And I was just like, dude, because he was like, what about the Bible? Are you trying to ban that? And I'm just like, no, if people want to read that his work of historical fantasy full of rape, incest, and murder and genocide, more power to them. I don't think that's a great use of their time, but to each their own.
That's what they always do, these weird gotchas. I feel like sometimes they're like, what about this? I'm like, I don't want that band either.
Yeah.
Read it. I don't care.
Yeah. If you want to read Mein Kampf, go right ahead. It's terrible. I was never even able to make it through any Ayn Rand novel like The Fountainhead or Atlas Shrugged. It's like 600 pages of just like, my family's fortune was taken away from me. And it's just like, get a life. So anyway, yeah, we're not for banning any books or restricting access to any books. If private companies want to make some tasteful edits because of the use of the N-word from a book that's like 150 years old, they're a private company. They should be allowed to do that, and you shouldn't be accusing them of banning something.
Yes, and that's the other thing is the private company. People are always like, oh, you're infringing on my First Amendment. It's like, this isn't the government. Like when Twitter bans people and they're like, that's the First Amendment. It's like, it's Twitter. Actually, they exist to make money because of capitalism, which you apparently love, I think, and they're allowed to ban whoever they want. Like, they're not the government.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that too. The whole like, you know, we get a lot of accusations of engaging in late stage capitalism because of our prices, which
apparently we should be raising.
Right, I know. All the people at the ecom conferences are like, raise your prices. But the thing is like all of the things that these people purport to be supportive of, the Bernie-crats, if you will, shorter work weeks, better benefits, higher wages, like we're trying to like live that out, but there seems to be a cognitive disconnect between what they say they want and their willingness to pay for those things with their wallets.
Except the reality of what that looks like.
Right. They want Gucci living, but Walmart prices to achieve it.
Right. People are ridiculous.
They are ridiculous. I'm kind of over humanity at this point.
No, they're very exhausting.
They are. This is why I have a lot more time for cats and dogs.
Exactly.
People are like, you want to come out for drinks? And I'm just like, are there going to be humans there? No thanks.
Not really.
Yeah. I guess that is, and you talked about this, I think, last week on the pod, like the one, yes, I've missed the sunshine. But it's very nice to have a locked and loaded excuse to not get together to socialize with people when it's like raining or freezing cold. It's like, oh no, I'm so sorry. It's just so dreary and gross outside. I'm worried about driving in this weather.
I'm scared.
I'm so scared. I need this cup of tea and this blanket.
Exactly. The rainy weather has been perfect for that.
Yeah. I mean, I know that Grace was saying a couple of weeks ago that she's just like, I need this like once every 2 weeks camaraderie with other humans, and I understand that as well. Mm-hmm. But I think I've got a higher threshold for just hanging out with Meredith and the cat.
I think also you have your partner and you have your cat, which does help. It makes being home better.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's not like we also don't have other rooms we can go into when it gets a little bit crazy. Actually, I got kicked out of the bed last night. Actually, it might have been early this morning. I think it was probably around 5 a.m. I got kicked out of the bed because apparently I was snoring.
Sure.
And I just hear, quiet! And that was enough to wake me up. And I roll over and she's scrolling on her phone. I'm like, you're already awake! You're kicking me out of bed for snoring, even though it's not like I was waking you up. You're just like bouncing trolls on Instagram or whatever it is that you're doing over there. And so I was just, I didn't even respond. I just grabbed my phone, grabbed my glasses, and trudged into the other bedroom. And I was just like, all right. And then I come out this morning to like get dressed and come here. She's like, I missed you this morning. And I was just like, well, you certainly didn't seem like you missed me when you told me to you were hissing, be quiet at me because I was snoring. I was just like, I don't have any way to control this.
You should get a wedge pillow.
There are a lot of things that people have told me I should try. You just mentioned the wedge pillow. A friend of mine said you should do a sleep study.
So the sleep study, you probably do have sleep apnea, and that might help. But the wedge pillow is like a very easy fix.
Right.
And it's like $50 or something like that.
I feel like it's worth rolling the dice on that. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's not like a big time commitment to just buy a pillow and see if it works. I've recommended it to many people, and many people have said that it actually works.
Okay. Yeah, I think I will give that a shot, because my buddy that recommended the sleep study, he was just like, I sleep with a CPAP now, and it was just like,
yeah, I don't know.
I was like, Tom, I do not want to wear that get up, especially because I move around a lot when I sleep. That's part of why I'm like I'll try the wedge pillow because it's kind of at $50. I'm like, I can risk it not solving the problem, but like, I might not stay on the sleep pillow all night. Sometimes I roll over and I sleep with no pillow because I'm on my stomach. Sometimes so we'll see what happens. But I at least thank you for the recommendation. I'm going to try it.
My boyfriend snores and has sleep apnea, and he did a sleep study and was given a CPAP, and he hated it, and then did the wedge pillow, and that works. I'm a freak. I'm weird. I don't actually mind snoring that much. I feel like it's like a cat purring.
You hear that, Meredith? You hear that?
Like a freak. No, I know. I understand why maybe people don't. It's like white noise or something.
I think that may be why it's not great for her, because I think mine is very inconsistent. It's not like the kind of thing where it's just going to be like a slow, steady thing. It'll probably be like...
No, you probably jerk yourself awake and that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I also... I don't think I snore horribly, but I also know that I snore, so I'm just like, whatever. Like, what am I going to do? Judge people for it?
I know. And other than last week in San Diego, I've been very good about limiting my alcohol intake, because I felt like that drinking at night was adversely affecting my ability to not snore. And it's like, well, clearly that wasn't the problem since I'm still doing it. So.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it adds to it.
Yeah.
But also probably doesn't totally take it away. I don't know.
I also think that's probably just something that gets progressively worse as I get older. I don't remember it being when we were younger, it did seem like she only complained about it if I had been drinking pretty hard the night before. But now it's like, oh, you've been sober for several days and you're still sounding like a chainsaw. And she's so low-key mean about it, because she'll record it on her voice memo to prove to me, and I'm like, dude, I get it. I don't think you're lying. I believe you, but I don't need documentary evidence of my snoring to feel bad about it. I already feel bad about it.
I can't remember. It was I don't remember what comedian it was who was talking on a podcast about how they record themselves every night to just hear what they sound like, and I'm like, I wouldn't want to know that at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm asleep. I assume whatever's happening is none of my business.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I would not record myself sleeping either, because I don't really talk in my sleep. Meredith does every once in a while. Mm-hmm. But it's a one-sided conversation that has zero context for me as the outside listener. So it's just what would be the point of recording this? She's not going to remember this. I can't make sense of it. Why bother? So I guess I'll just be sleeping in a different room of the house from now on.
Get a wedge pillow, see how it goes.
I'll try that. Shall we do some reviews and some questions of the day?
Yeah, I pulled a review from Tracy H.
Okay.
She said, practically perfect. Hard to spot the imperfection. Gifted this to my brother, and is the slightly imperfect interdimensional portals spiral notebook. I picked this one because it stood out to me as a thing I didn't know we did.
Yeah. So, look, with the spiral notebooks and our other more narrative books, or the grievance journal, the activity book, we're never going to have 100% perfect, pristine inventory that we get from the printer. It's just never going to happen. Mm-hmm. And we decided a couple of years ago that we didn't want that stuff just end up in a landfill, But we also felt like we couldn't sell it at full price because then we're just going to deal with a bunch of people who are just like, I paid $28 for this grievance journal. It's got a small, imperceptible dent in it. And so what we decided we were going to do is we were essentially going to sell them for half off so that we could keep them from being in the landfill, still make a tiny sliver of money off of it. It's not very much because, as I have to explain to people in the comments all the time, who are like, why is this so expensive? I'm just like, because of this ad that you're commenting on. It's real expensive to run ads on Facebook and Instagram. And that way we can be good stewards of the environment and also still, not have it be a total loss. Because the other thing that will sometimes happen is like then we end up getting into like kind of like a pissy argument with the vendor who's manufacturing it, and they're like, well, this looks fine to me and blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, yeah, to you, you're not. You're trying not to refund us, but you don't really care. I that's not true. Some of them might be listening or watching, so they might be like, that's not true.
Care.
We do. You care, but you're not perfect, and we get it. It's okay. So we came up with the idea of selling the slightly imperfect grievance journal, the slightly imperfect spiral notebooks, that kind of thing. But Christina and Isabella, who are in our customer service and shipping department, they are typically the ones that do all of the quality control checks whenever we get those in. So we'll get like thousands of copies of these things in at a time. And so when they don't have anything else to do, which is never, but we still ask them to kind of carve out a little bit of time day over day when we get these shipments in to kind of just do a quick little flip through and find the ones that are perfect and able to be sold at full price, slightly imperfect and we can sell at half price, or the ones where it's just like, yeah, if we tried to send this even at half price, someone would riot. So we do get some of those too, but they sometimes are a little too perfectionist to a fault, where I'm like, this is about as close to perfect as you can get with it not being perfect, and the average person is not going to notice it. And a lot of the reviews for the imperfect stuff say as much. They're like, I don't know what the imperfection is, and it's just like, if I looked at it, I probably couldn't spot it either.
That's what Tracy thought, and it's good enough to gift to her brother. And then I wonder if she bought this for her brother, knowing that it might be imperfect, which I think is kind of funny.
Maybe her brother's a dick. Maybe he gave her one too many wedgies when they were younger. I don't know.
Yeah, and she's like, here, interdimensional portals. I don't know the actual
open it. I hope
that.
You get sucked into one.
She is probably like, damn, this is too good.
Right. Or she got it hoping it would be an actual interdimensional portal, and it didn't work, and she was like, here, idiot, you can have it.
Yeah, so,
probably. Something like that probably went down.
Okay, well, that was my review, and then I've got some questions of the day.
Let's do it. Why don't we read some you read some comments, and then we'll comment back at the commenters.
Yes, that's how we'll do it.
Awesome.
Okay, first question. What adult life skill is the hardest to master? And we have Leah A. Daniel, learning the truth about everything, how horrid people can be. Amber Gibson said, making yourself do shit you don't want to, like laundry or dishes. And Heather Smith Scott said, sticking to a budget for me. I like pretty things.
All right. I mean, those are all valid responses to that question.
Yeah.
I feel like laundry and dishes, it can definitely, I mean, if you're like Charlie Bucket's mom and you're using like the washboard and the big vat of boiling water, I could see laundry being a pain in the ass. But if you're using a laundromat, or you have like, if you're fortunate enough to have like a machine at home, it's not that big of a deal.
It's not that big of a deal, but I kind of agree with it. I really hate doing laundry, and it's laziness at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But that's most chores. I feel like just like doing things you don't want to do. That's a lot of adult life, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not perfect in this regard. There are definitely times where I'm just like, oh, this kitchen sink is really full of stuff, and someone's got to put these away.
I know. It's like, someone should probably take care of this. I wonder who's going to do it.
Exactly. And there's only like one other someone in the house, and I'm just like, if I don't do it relatively an equal amount, I'll feel like a jerk.
Yeah.
Meredith will also tell me, like, you need to do this. So, yeah. What about you? Like, is there anything specific that doesn't fall under those three comments where you feel like this is particularly challenging for me as an adult?
I'm trying to think, like, what do adults do? What would your answer to this be?
I would say getting regular exercise, and like not even like super high impact stuff, but I've definitely over the last, I would say 5 years, gained about 15 or 20 pounds that I could probably shed fairly easily if I would just get my ass out of bed and just, I don't even have to go for a run. I could probably walk for like an hour in my neighborhood before coming to the office.
But like sleep
But my bed
nice.
is really warm and I like to scroll my phone, so it's hard to kind of do that. But Meredith and I are trying to be a little bit better at holding each other accountable for doing that. You know, I did dry January and I thought, oh, maybe not consuming pure sugar for a month will help get my weight under control. And it did. I probably lost like 5 or 10 pounds, but come February 1st, Daddy needs a double of bourbon.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to like moderate my alcohol consumption since then. And actually I have been drinking a lot less than I had been, which is good. But that is not the quick solution that it used to be when I was in like my early to mid 30s. Like I'm in my early 40s right now. And your metabolism slows down. And I think also because the operations team and Marlene and Ellie and Adam and Marissa and Isabella and Christina are doing so much of like the printing and the packing and all that stuff, Meredith and I really only have to step in and help them out like in, you know, rare instances where like people are out sick or something like that. But we are mostly at our desks, sitting, working on new designs, working on administrative bullshit, all this other stuff, and not like moving around as much as we had when we were younger. And so that, coupled with the fact that I'm just not just doing any kind of extracurricular exercise, even if it's just a walk around the neighborhood, has made it tougher and tougher for me to like get back to like a target weight for myself.
I mean, exercise is also good for your like mental health and all that. I
don't care about that at all. I'm just vain.
But I feel like I find that things that I know will be good for me mental health, those are hard for me to do. It's like, this will make you feel better, and I'm like, but I feel like shit. I don't want to do it.
Right. Yeah, I'm just like, I get that.
Yeah, I think honestly, just like adult life skills, I feel like most of it is more just like annoying. I don't know if it's necessarily hard to master. I'm more just like irritated that I even have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I think that I've learned fairly recently in my life, like probably just over the last like 2 or 3 years, I really cannot survive, especially with this freaking Adderall shortage that's that makes it impossible for me to get my ADHD meds. I live and die by the reminder app on my phone. So if it does not get put in there, it's not happening. And so I've gotten a lot better about making sure that if there is something that I need to remember to do, I put it in there. And then also taking advantage of auto pay for like paying bills and stuff whenever possible.
Yeah.
It can be hard because like, I mean, even me, like sometimes like we like have like a lot of unforeseen expenses that pop up, and then like, oh, your auto pay failed and now you're in arrears and all this other crap, and you gotta like call like the health insurance company and be like, please don't drop me.
You're like, I'm gonna get it together, it's 2 days, just give me 2 days.
Right, exactly. Like, I have the money now, just give me a second. But I would say like just trying to like take advantage of those modern life hacks when you can help. It doesn't remove it, because at the end of the day it's like, oh, I still gotta like do actual work so that there's money for them to draw out of the account, and that sucks. I say that because I think sometimes people get the misconception that what you do and what Meredith and I do is just what they see here on the internet, and there's like a lot of other like bullshit work. Like, for those that aren't content creators, aren't like living in the apps, like Tess and Josh and Grace and Meredith and me, how many takes would you say that you usually do when you're like doing, say, the alignment chart stuff?
I probably do a couple takes of each one. So you're doing multiple takes of it, but then it's like the editing. I feel like editing takes like way longer than people would assume it's going to, especially because I hesitate to say that I have perfectionist tendencies, even though I do, but because in my head I'm like, but they're not perfect, and people are going to be like, what are you talking about? You're a perfectionist. All your videos suck.
Right.
But no, I definitely, like, there are some times when I'm just like, you just need to get over it because this is fine. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think that for years I kept hearing from people like, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, and just put something up there. And I get that in a abstract sense, and like intellectually I understand that, but emotionally it's also going up on the internet where people are savages.
Yes.
And they are so mean, and so you do kind of feel like this impulse to make sure it's perfect, because you're like, maybe this time if it is perfect, no one will say anything mean to me. Guess what? That is never gonna happen, because there's always going to be some neckbeard asshole that is going to like be like, actually, blah blah blah.
Yeah, like your hair looks bad today. I'm like, damn it, I didn't do my hair.
I mean, this hat is really for everyone else's benefit, because my hair is super greasy today, and I could not be bothered because I was so tired that I was just like, fuck shower.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna have to go home and probably hop right in the shower before Meredith will have anything to do with me as a result.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm all about being gross, so I get it.
But yeah,
like when people are like, your hair looks like shit, I'm like, that is accurate.
Yeah, I can't find fault with that accusation. But yeah, it is. There's a lot of work that goes into looking as great as we do right now.
Yeah.
What next as far as question of the day?
All right. What is your most memorable travel experience? We have Devin Novotny. Devin Novotny. We were somewhere around Barstow on the edge of the desert when the drugs began to take hold. Just that.
Yeah, that A seems very accurate for Barstow, and B very accurate for Devin. Devin's been a follower for many years, and I've seen some profile pics, and Devin definitely looks like they know their way around some substances. Not that I don't, so I can't.
Sure.
I can't throw glass at that, or throw stones at that glass house. What about you? Or actually, read some others before we get to those.
I'll read the others before I talk about my drug travel experiences. Melissa Stedman Herbs says, on a prop plane flight from Belize City to Placencia, Belize, I was handed a rope and told I was responsible for holding the plane door shut. Which sounds terrifying.
Yeah, there's no amount of money that would get me to go on a prop plane in the U.S., let alone in Belize.
Yeah. And then we have DC Dorkstar said, visiting 700 cats at the Lanai Cat Sanctuary. Also singing with a live band while on a solo trip in San Diego.
Oh, all right. 700 cats seems intense. I love cats, but I don't know if I want to be around 700 of them that badly at the same time.
Yeah, it would be an experience for sure.
Yeah, when I read Lanai the other day, I immediately thought this was in Hawaii, but I don't know if it is.
So I don't actually know either. I know that there's a cat island in Japan.
Yes, I have heard of that.
But I don't know that this is that either.
I was very excited to find out this weekend that there is a bunny cafe coming to LA.
Ooh, I love a bunny.
I love a bunny too. I'm going to go pet all the bunnies at this cafe when it opens. Anyway, your thoughts on
my most memorable travel experience.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like most travel experiences are memorable in some way. And I've done a lot of like international travel, but the thing that initially came to my head, it's similar to Devin's. When I had a layover in Amsterdam and did not time when I took my drugs properly, my mushrooms properly, and ended up on mushrooms on an airplane. And that was very memorable.
I mean, of the international airports I've been in, Schiphol is very nice.
It is very nice.
Yeah, very efficient.
And they were very kind to us, despite sprinting to our plane while tripping and almost missing our flight.
I think that it's Amsterdam. They're probably used to it.
Exactly.
I had a pretty sizable brick of space cake right before going to the Van Gogh Museum, and
oh yeah, you gotta do some space cakes before Van Gogh.
when in Amsterdam, right?
Yeah.
It was funny too because it was the middle of a weekday, and there were a lot of young children in there on like school trips. Most well-behaved children I've ever seen in like a museum or art gallery or anything like that. So.
Yeah. Amsterdam's wonderful.
Yeah.
I've been there twice. But yeah, this one was just a layover, and we did not we thought that our flight was at 11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were in the red light district, and we were going to go see a sex show, as you do in Amsterdam while on mushrooms.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
It was like about to start. And
it's on the map that they give you when you're leaving the airport to go to Amsterdam.
Like, this is where you go.
Watch out for windmills and sex shows.
Yeah. Which can happen in a sex show. So
yes. Just the sex workers are going like this with their arms.
Their arms, yes. That is what I was talking about. But yeah, it was about to start, and then our like responsible friend, who was the one who was supposed to be responsible, was all of a sudden like, our flight's in 45 minutes. We were like, oh.
Oh, no. Yeah, that seems very stressful.
Yeah, I was just like, I thought it was hilarious.
Nice.
Because, I was just like, what a ridiculous situation we are currently in.
Yeah, yeah. I would say, I mean, there are so many. I've traveled a lot in the U.S. and a little bit abroad. I would say the most fun or interesting, I should say, was we were in Berlin, and this was in like the late 2000s, and there was a website, and it's probably still around, called couchsurfing.org.
Oh, yep.
And so Meredith and I would use that to find locals to show us around. We weren't like crashing with them. We would just like rent a guest house or something like that, but we would at least reach out to locals to show us around. And while we were in Berlin, we met up with two couples. One couple was Australian expats from Brisbane that were there for work. And they were fun, and it was great because there wasn't much of a language barrier. There was another couple that we met up with who were like East Germans, like pre-wall coming down. And so Russian was their second language, and they had like done a decent job of like picking up English, but you could tell that it was not the thing that they were the most fluent with. But they invited us to go to a rum tasting. So most people when they're in Berlin don't think of rum, but there was like like this kind of upscale liquor store in the Friedrichshain district, and they were like, "There's a rum tasting. You should come with us." And so we met up with them at this liquor store. We did this rum tasting, and then afterwards. And, like, Meredith and I are not the kind of people that go to an alcohol tasting and spit it into the spittoon. Like,
sure.
You're going to get your money's worth.
Yeah.
And so they're like, would you like to come with us to get a beer around the corner at this club we're members of? Sure. We go in, and it's basically just a house, and it's an anarchist club.
Oh, my God.
And it's, like, all these, like, German gutter punks that are, like, playing ping pong and just chain smoking, and they do have a bar behind like a counter where you can buy beers, but because it's an anarchist club, they're able to operate without having a liquor license. And so we went inside, got beers, and then just went outside and sat on like the curb and just drank beers. But I would say that's probably the most interesting, just like hanging out with these two East German anarchists while we were getting drunk. Yeah. I would say that's probably near the top of my list.
Yeah, couch surfing. I couch surfed a lot in Europe, and that's something that I look back on and I'm like, that was dangerous. That wasn't.
Yeah.
Meeting up, like, sure, but like I was like, it was just like 4 or 5 women just like staying with this random Italian dude. Like, that wasn't so I look at that now, I'm like, oh girls, what are you doing?
I mean, I guess at least you guys had strength in numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons that Meredith loves Scandinavia so much is she's said for decades now, she's like, I love going to Scandinavia because you could be walking up down the street at 2 a.m. in nothing but a thong and pasties, and guys aren't going to like catcall you or like try to proposition you or anything like that. Whereas she was just like, in Southern Europe,
yeah,
there's a lot of that.
It can be rough in some of those cities. Yeah.
And she was doing this when she was like single.
Yeah.
She would, sometimes she was usually going with a friend, but it was like another female friend of hers, and she would tell me these stories about going to like Spain or Italy, and I was just like, that sounds horrible. But at the same time, I'm like, I kind of want to go to those countries, but maybe we can go together, and that won't happen. But I have a feeling that they're still gonna hit on her.
Yeah,
they'll be like, what is this guy gonna do?
Yeah, it's a very interesting, I don't know, experience. Like, obviously, there's plenty of lovely people and whatnot, but yeah, there's some weird. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, couch surfing. Now, as an older person, I'm like questionable decision making. A lot of questionable decision making. Period. About like just things I did in Europe in my like early 20s as like a single woman.
But I feel like that's kind of when you're supposed to make those kind of dangerous choices. So I mean, it would be weirder if you were like, if you like slacked us tomorrow and be like, I'm gonna go to Turkey this weekend or something like that.
Turkey this weekend alone. I'm couch surfing.
Going to this banger of a rave in Dubai.
Yeah, I'm going to a random rave. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's your early 20s are the times to make those kinds of questionable choices, I think. I was very late to international travel. Meredith was the one that got me to get my first passport, and she was just like, oh, there's like a deal to go to Prague. Let's go there. And I was just like, okay. And she was just kind of like, it's Prague. And I'm like, this is amazing. Because she'd been to Europe a few times at that point, and I just thought it was the coolest.
Prague is nice.
But they do tell it, like the guy that gave us the ride from the airport to like the place that we were renting, he was just like, watch out for pickpockets. Like, carry your wallet in your front pocket at all times. If you've got backpacks, wear them like a baby and a papoose on your front. And I was just like, yikes.
So I studied abroad in Greece, and that's when most of my like European travel happened during that time. Mm-hmm. But so much, just like me and my friend one time, we like went out to some club, and like in Europe, like the clubs are open so late. And we like fell asleep on the street outside this club and got robbed. Shocker that when we woke up, all our things had been taken. Luckily not our passports though. We had those at home.
Wow.
Because we were smart ladies.
Tess is just wilding out in these European streets.
Fully stupid. Fully stupid. So many things where I'm just like, man, you really lucked out on a lot of situations.
How much about these little escapades of yours do your folks know about?
Hopefully they aren't listening to this.
None until right now.
None until right now. No, I'm like halfway honest with my parents.
That's good.
Like
secrets are there for a reason.
Yeah. But I feel like my parent, like, I kind of have an attitude now of where I'm like, what are you going to do, ground me? Like, good luck.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they've, so this is getting off topic, but I do comedy.
What topic? This is a free-ranging discussion. We're just riffing.
I do this comedy show sometimes called Mortified.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Yes, so I do Mortified, and I read from my high school diary, and I am frequently put up during the sexy, dirty shows because my high school diary is very dirty, and my parents attended Mortified once. So I feel like after having to listen to me describe things in horrific detail.
This is a family podcast, please. No, it's not. But yeah.
I don't think that I can freak my parents out anymore.
All right.
Well. They've gone through it. I also like sometimes I'm just like, you're the one who raised me. Good luck. You mad about it? I don't know what you did wrong then.
You should have done better. Any other questions?
Yeah, we had one more.
Okay. Well, we'll get to the end of this episode eventually.
We'll get to the end. We'll stop talking about what a train wreck I was in my 20s. I'm so put together now.
One of these days, I'll tell the story of how Meredith and I met.
Yeah.
It almost ended in the hospital.
All right. What ruined a hobby for you? That's the question.
Oh.
And we have Gwen Golightly. Monetizing it almost ruined it. I took a very long break. Now I refuse to knit/crochet for money and only do it for family and friends because I love them. Laura Waddles says, people cheating while playing electronic words with friends. And Samolu said, when other people doing it started to get very competitive and nutty about it. I don't know what it is, but I get that.
I mean, it could literally be anything.
Right.
I'm sure that there are competitive crocheters out there.
Yeah.
I think someone I responded as Boardwalk to one of those people who had said, like, I turned it into a business. And I was just like, yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, that definitely makes it.
Nothing will make you hate drawing and doing art for a living more than having to think about, will this sell?
Yeah.
Like, and like every single time. I mean, it's the same thing with like going up on stage. Is this going to land? Is this going to get laughs?
Yeah, it definitely turning anything. Yeah, having to make money off of it is rough.
Yeah, it is. And like then, all the anti-capitalists come out and they're like, see, this is why we shouldn't do this. But I'm like, what are you going to do? Just trade chickens for services? Like, we can't go backwards. This is still the best, worst option that we've got. I don't want to be carrying around like guinea pigs or, bushels of wheat to like get something else that I need that isn't one of those things. I don't know why you'd be trading guinea pigs. It just popped into my head.
Peru, you know?
Yeah, they do like to eat them there. I like to pet them.
Yeah,
but
I'm
to each their own.
Petting them personally over eating as well, but
yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I felt also my other thought for this one was, so I've gotten back into reading. I was like a huge reader when I was younger, though. I was like read very fast, read a lot of books, and I feel like grad school ruined reading for me for a while because I was too busy to read for pleasure, but was reading articles all the time and like scientific articles, and I don't know that I like read a book for like 5 years after finishing grad school.
I think I have read from cover to cover 2 or 3 books. 3 books in the last decade.
Yeah.
And 2 of them were business books. And I agree with you. Like, yeah, reading has definitely been a little bit ruined for me. And actually, when I think about, like, because sometimes, like, I'll talk to, like, colleagues that also own businesses, and they're like, kids, Meredith and I are like, look, we make no bones about the fact that, like, eventually we are going to want to, like, sell the business and retire and ride off into the sunset. And they're like, are you going to get bored? I'm just like, no, because I'm gonna need about a decade to regain my love of reading.
Yeah.
Because, like, even now, like, if I try to do it, Meredith is better about it than I am, although she's become a big proponent of, like, library apps on her phone. Like, she checks stuff out of the library, but she just does it through her phone. But if I do try to read a book now, it's really, really difficult to stay engaged for any length of time because it's we're all so used to fucking listicles.
Yeah, it definitely...
you just want to be like, get to the point!
I've gotten way better about it in the past 2 years, but it was because I had to like actively set a goal for myself. And then it is enjoyable. And I think another thing that helped was being like, I can just read like fluffy nonsense books. Like, I don't need to be reading some like English assigned reading thing. Like, it doesn't need to be some thick novel. It can just be a dumb romance, like, whatever.
Yeah, I used to be a lot more into fiction than I eventually became, and like now the only stuff that I can really tolerate for any length of time is like music bios. But even then, it's just like now it's like Keith Richards writes his life story and it's this thick, and I'm just like, we get it. You did a lot of drugs and played a lot of guitar. So yeah. I can definitely empathize with that.
Yeah, it sucks when things like that, because I feel like, and that's also a hobby that's like just a hobby. I mean, I guess maybe some people monetize reading.
Yeah, there are definitely some like booktubers out there
Yeah.
where they're just like, I gotta get the views so YouTube will give me some cash. But I think that they still do enjoy reading, and more power to them. I'm glad that they were able to kind of like turn their hobby into something, into an income stream. I think the real issue becomes when it becomes your only or primary income stream, and then like that profit motive kind of factors into every decision that you make.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's rough.
So those of you that sometimes will like slide into our DMs being like, how do I do what you do? Don't. Not because we don't want the competition. We're trying to save you from going down a path that will make you hate the thing that you love.
Yeah.
Or at least not find it enjoyable anymore. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah. Just don't do it. Don't follow your dreams, kids.
Yes.
You heard it here.
Work for the man and enjoy your dreams on the weekends.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then hopefully retire early, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably won't do that.
Yeah.
But, you know, I do agree with what you just said about people are always like, yeah, if you retire, won't you get bored? And it's like, no, I'm just going to like chill, travel, do stuff.
Yeah.
That sounds great. I would love do whatever I want.
all the stuff that I was just saying about like all the international travel that I did, that stopped in like 2011. I haven't been out of the country since then.
Yeah.
So, and it's because of this right here. I mean, now Meredith is like, oh, we could probably go away for like a trip, and now we got this 19-year-old cat that's like kind of got one paw in the living and one paw in the dead. So we're going to be, again, stuck geographically speaking here until he is fully off the mortal coil. But yeah, like following your dreams does mean that you kind of mortgage the things that bring you joy, that spark joy. And so, you know, you've got to either be really guarded about it and be really intentional about making sure that you carve out the time to continue enjoying those hobbies, or you can make the choice that I made, which is to go all in and burn the candle at both wicks for 10 to 15 years and hope that you're able to get out early enough that you still are young and spry enough that you can get back to the things that you formerly enjoyed. And who knows if that's actually going to work out the way I envisioned it. It might not. Like, this could just, like, Meredith and I could just die slumped over a printer at 70. I don't know. It could happen.
I hope that doesn't happen. I hope
me too.
You're able to follow your dreams of not working.
I hope we all can. So
that's really that's the best job.
Yeah.
My dream job is being born into a wealthy family.
Yeah, that
crazy
sounds
that it didn't happen.
That sounds real dope. Where do I sign up for that?
I know.
Who's got a time machine and access to like some genetic material?
Yeah.
God. All right. Anything else?
No, those were my questions. We learned so much today.
Yeah, I feel bad because now you're going to have to edit this.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, thank you very much for joining us for episode 158. Tessa,
thank you.
It's always a pleasure to sit down and chat with you.
Yes.
We don't get to do it very often.
I know. We're
just
usually doing our own jobs or whatever.
We have windows over here that like I can see. That's my office right there, and I can see across the window. And like I was walking by, and you and Josh and Grace were like shooting stuff in another part of the building, and you guys were laughing and having such a great time. And I briefly thought I should just go and troll them, just be like, you guys are having way too much fun over here. But I realized no, that's not what I want to do, because I think it makes everyone in the building happier when they hear you guys having a good time, even if you're faking it for the views.
No, I think I'm glad when we're laughing, because then I'm like, at least we think what we're filming is funny. It doesn't matter. Maybe nobody else watching it will think it's funny, but at least like there's some sketches that like haven't gotten a lot of views or people just haven't cared about, but I just like laugh every single time. And not even necessarily because of the sketch, but just because I remember the process of filming it and how we like couldn't keep it together, like whatever.
I mean, I agree. Like, but see, that's the thing. I think that if the algorithm thought it was funny enough to show to more people, lots more people would find it funny.
Yeah.
Because, so many of the things that you guys film that don't get traction, I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with this algorithm?
I know. It's gotten better, though. I feel like we're getting more views.
Yeah. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for spending some time with us. And hopefully you'll continue coming back.
Keep doing that. Follow us on social media. Get us those views, baby.
Yeah. Watch it again. Through 2, 3, 5 times.
However many you want, as long as it's at least 5.
At least 5 per person. Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye.